Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D. Better Off Reading Every Day. Today's book is Sportsercise, a school story about exercise-induced asthma. And this is written by Kim Gosling and it's illustrated by Terry Ravanelli. Sportsercise. The sounds of rustling paper and children's chatter greeted Mr. Fleming as he glided into his morning classroom. In just a couple of days, the school's annual sports festival, dubbed Sportsercise, would begin. Mr. Fleming's class would be taking part in the three-legged relay, the potato sack race, and the hoops competition. Mr. Fleming slid his notes under the bright red football helmet sitting upside down atop his desk. Torn slips of notebook paper spilled over the sides. On each one is a single name, had been carefully scrawled in with pencil. "Okay," shouted Mr. Fleming, bringing the classroom to attention. "We're ready to draw names for our class teams. Justin, would you and Ashley help me out? And while you're there, I found something that belongs to you." Justin looked up and saw his asthma relief inhaler resting on Mr. Fleming's desk. "Thanks, Mr. Fleming. I guess I forgot to put it away," he added in dismay. The day before, Justin had used his asthma relief inhaler right after recess. While he was playing soccer, his chest started to hurt and feel tight. Soon he was coughing too. It was coughing a lot too. Lately, Justin's asthma has been acting up every time he plays sports or exercised. Mr. Fleming thought Justin would be happy to help choose the names for the Sportsercise teams. He shuffled up to the front of the class and picked up his inhaler. "He sure doesn't look very happy," thought Mr. Fleming. Justin's friend Ashley, who had asthma too, looked thrilled to have been selected. She smiled from ear to ear as she announced the first name drawn. "Michael," she exclaimed with excitement. Children's cheers echoed in the classroom as Michael went up to print his name on the board. Justin dug in and scooped out another scrawled piece of paper. "Emily," he whispered, his head hanging down. "Yay, Emily." "Speak up. We can't hear you," said Mr. Fleming. The teacher wondered what was troubling Justin. He decided to speak to him after class. Soon, all the kids had been picked for teams. Mr. Fleming explained how their class would compete against teams from another teacher's class. It was old Mrs. Hatfield's class. Mr. Fleming's class had the worst luck. Old Mrs. Hatfield had taken part in over 12 Sportsercise festivals. She'd been at the school forever. Worse yet, her class never lost a competition. "Okay, class," said Mr. Fleming as he finished organizing the names on the board. "You all know we're going to have to work extra hard this year. Mrs. Hatfield's class is tough to beat." Glancing at his wristwatch, he added, "Now get off to the gym class before you're late," and scooted them out the door. Justin was about to leave when Mr. Fleming asked if he could speak with him. "What's bothering you, Justin?" Justin said hesitantly. "I don't want to take part in the Sportsercise this year." "Why not?" asked Mr. Fleming with disbelief. "You're one of our best teammates." "My asthma has been bugging me lately every time I exercise, said Justin. I'm afraid I'll get sick or worse yet, wreck things for the whole class, he added in despair. We certainly can't have you getting sick, said Mr. Fleming. Let's take a trip down to Mrs. Hardy, the school nurse. I bet she's got the answers for us. Mrs. Hardy greeted Justin's entrance with a warm smile. A younger girl was sitting next to her, using her asthma inhaler. Lots of kids living with asthma are sometimes bothered by exercise, she said. Mrs. Hardy went on to remind Justin that exercise was an asthma trigger, or something that could cause an asthma episode. In fact, she said, that's what happened to this little girl. She started having trouble breathing during gym class. She did, Justin asked surprised. You mean I'm not the only one? Of course not. Exercise, like playing sports, is a very common asthma trigger. Mrs. Hardy telephoned Justin's mom. Justin's mother assured Mrs. Hardy that she would let his asthma doctor know. That way, Justin's doctor could prescribe the right kind of medicine for him. She soon called back telling the nurse that Justin's doctor would see him right after school. I bet you'll be feeling much better by the time the festival begins, Mrs. Hardy said. Besides, your class really needs you. Thanks, Mrs. Hardy. Justin hugged her tight. Justin sat on Dr. Casey's examining table while she listened to his lungs. She talked to him about his feelings and some of his asthma symptoms. Next, she asked him to blow big puffs of air into a peak flow meter. Dr. Casey reminded him that playing sports like other ways of exercising could be an asthma trigger. As the school nurse had told him before, lots of kids, just like Justin, lived with exercise-induced asthma. As the school nurse had told him before, lots of kids, like Justin, lived with exercise-induced asthma. There are many different kinds of asthma medicines, Dr. Casey went on to explain. Some inhalers help control asthma for a long time. Some give quick relief, like during asthma episode, and some do both. Let's try a medication that might be best for you, Dr. Casey told him with a smile. She handed his mother a new prescription and asked her to please call back later to tell her how it was working. The rest of the week flew by. The teachers and the students alike prepared for the grand Sportsercise festival. Justin noticed the school nurse had her own special booth right in the middle of the festival grounds. He took his turn in line, waited for his medication. The nurse had been right, Justin thought. Besides Ashley, he saw lots of other kids using their inhalers and taking asthma medicine too. For kids who had exercise-induced asthma, it was important to use their asthma medicine before exercising to prevent asthma episodes from happening. Justin checked the peak flow reading and saw that his number was in the green zone for good control. Justin used his new inhaler and waited at least 10 to 20 minutes before going off to exercise. That way, his exercise-induced asthma medicine would work its very best. Be sure to come back and see me if you start having asthma symptoms, Mrs. Hardy told him. Justin grinned and scampered off to take his place in the first competition of the day, the three-legged race, one of my favorites. Ashley was ahead of him and already waiting. He took his place next to her while Mrs. Fleming tied their legs together. Seconds later, the starting whistle shrieked. Ashley and Justin took off and gave it their best try. They tripped and fell down twice, laughing hysterically. Ashley and Justin relay team came in second place. A team from old Mrs. Hatfield's class came in first, of course. Next, it was time for the potato sack race. Ashley and Justin each crawled into enormous old flour sacks. Soon, they were both off, tumbling towards the bright yellow finish banner. In spite of their mighty efforts, Ashley and Justin's team came in fourth. Feeling a little sad, the two friends decided to take a rest. They grabbed a cool glass of lemonade in the food court and shared a bag of popcorn. Since Ashley was having a little trouble breathing, she ran to the nurse's booth, to check her peak flow reading. Justin felt great. The new asthma medicine really seemed to be working. A few minutes later, Justin and Ashley caught up with each other at the final competition of the day. The hoops event was their very favorite. It was worth triple the points of any other competition. Whosoever won the hoops event took home the festival trophy. I was in the green zone, Ashley called out to Justin, referring to the peak flow reading she had a few minutes before. Great, yelled back Justin, scoring the first 2 points of the basketball game. Soon, the hoops event really started heating up. As expected, Mrs. Hatfield's class was leading the competition. This would be the last chance for Mr. Fleming's team to win the golden trophy. Yeah! Bleachers of kids rooted and screamed for their favorite teams. Each took turns shooting baskets and scoring points. Mrs. Hatfield's class was in the lead. The clock ticked off. With just minutes to go, Ashley made a basket to tie the game. Mistress Hatfield's team had the ball once again. Tension mounted when their tallest kid leapt for a layup. He missed. Ashley rebounded and dribbled the ball back down the court. Justin waited for the pass. He knew he only had a matter of seconds to shoot a basket. If he made it, Mr. Fleming's class would win the trophy. Just when he jumped to take his shot, the tall kid grabbed his arm. The whistle shrieked, "Foul!" called the referee. Justin took his place for a free throw. Now he had 2 chances to score a point and win the game. Ashley held her breath. Justin took his shot. The basketball hit the outside rim of the hoop. No score. One last chance. Swoosh went the basketball through the hoop. Justin did it. Mr. Fleming's class won the game. The crowd went wild, hollering, hoisting Justin up and carrying him off the court. A few minutes later, Mr. Fleming presented Justin with the class's treasured trophy. Justin was overjoyed. Winning the Sportsercise trophy meant almost everything to him. More importantly, Justin discovered that sometimes, with help from doctors and the right medicine, it was possible to help prevent asthma episodes. As long as his asthma was in good control, Justin could play and win at almost anything, even sports and exercise. The end, boys and girls, of Sportsercise, a school story about exercise-induced asthma. I want to read to you that last page because that's the most important. Justin was overjoyed. Winning the Sportsercise trophy meant almost everything to him. More importantly, Justin discovered that sometimes, With help from doctors and the right medicine, it was possible to help prevent asthma episodes. As long as his asthma was in good control, Justin could play and win at almost anything, even sports and exercise. Look at that winning face. Different from the boy that was sad in the beginning, right? Because he was nervous about his asthma. Yes. Boys and girls, I chose this story because, of course, I love this shirt. Exercise? I thought you said French fries. Because that's always the running joke when people talk about exercise. Because honestly, over the years, my exercise has been a few things. Jumping rope every day, hula hooping, and playing badminton, and on occasion, when I get the chance, playing golf. So those 4 things are basically my exercise. But my overall exercise, why I'm able to stay the size that I am for all these years, is basically running after kids. For the last 4 years, I've been running after kids. It's what I do. It's my job. And that keeps your weight, I believe, keeps my weight in check. Because don't be fooled, boys and girls. I eat ice cream every Tuesday and Wednesday because it's BOGO. Over here, BOGO. Buy one, get one free at Baskin-Robbins on Tuesday, and buy one, get one free at Carvel on Wednesday. So I eat ice cream at least twice a week. And yes, I make my own French fries. I'm not really a buy French fries out so much. I make my own French fries with potatoes and oil. Yes, I do. So I'm a French fry girl. I love French fries in any type. Waffle fries, French fries, steak fries, curly fries, whatever it's called, as long as it ends with fries, I love it. So when I saw this shirt, I knew it was perfect for the exercise book. It's somewhat of a serious topic, asthma, but also it's brought to you so that you can understand it a little better, what he was going through, and with the help that he got. Sometimes what is needed is just the right helps. And that is what doctors are there for, and parents. We get the information that you give to us, and then we contact the doctors, and then they are able to help you. So it's all about that communication. Your body communicates with you. You communicate with your parents, and then your parents communicate with the doctor, and then back to you again to get you all fixed up. Now, potato sack race, haven't done it in a while. 3-legged race, haven't done it in a while. Spoon in egg in a spoon race, haven't done it in a while. Why? Good old Corona, man. Just having us sitting around here not having any fun. But guess what, boys and girls? I got some good news today. School starts for me next week. I am thrilled. I can't wait to see my kids. It's been forever. March 7th and March 13th and 14th was the last time I saw my kids. And to find out today that I'm going to see my kids next week, it almost brought a little tear to my eye. And I wanted to share that with you. It is going to be some reunion. Yes, it's going to be. Yes, we will be wearing our masks. Yes, we will be social distancing. Yes, we will be safe. But God, we are going to catch up on lost time with the learning and the loving and the laughing. Woo! Laughing. Laughing is not even a word. Boys and girls, it is Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, and it has been my pleasure to bring this story with you. I hope you got a lot of good out of it. And you know what? After talking about fries, I feel like I might need to make some fries tonight. Yeah. Fries. Lady Di fries. Those are the ones with vinegar and salt on them. Oh, boy. Oh, unbelievable. They're so good. Oh, boys and girls. They may be called French fries, but in my house, they're my fries. Bye.